Hey, what's up guys? SharpTony here, and today we're going to talk about why I feel WildStar Online missed its mark. Or WildStar, whatever the frick you want to call it. And let's start off by saying, don't think it's a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game, but it didn't live up to its potential. It could have been a much, much better and more well put together game. But let's talk about a few reasons why I think the game has kind of tanked. First off, and before people say, Sharp, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I do. I was in the beta and everything. I played a while. I played with my boys Rippin, who was also in the beta. I played with Matthias, who it was actually really difficult to play with him. One of the things that really bothered me about the game was the region locks. You should at least have the... Even if you're from a different country, you're from two different countries, Rippin and Matthias both live in Europe on a different continent. I obviously live in the States. And we couldn't have played together because the servers were locked completely. Which I understand you want to cut down on the lag from people playing cross-continent, across the frickin' planet and stuff like that. But then you should play Eve. Wow, I just made a planetary joke in Eve. Wow, cool. Funny. I'd make myself laugh. I forgot what I was saying completely. Oh, right. You should at least make it an opportunity. You should at least make people that are from different parts of the world able to play with each other. That's why we play MMOs, because we want to play with the other people. Another thing is the game was really, really cut and dry and boring. The quests that were there, a lot of them just seemed like tedious. It seemed like busy work. Like when you went into school and your teacher didn't feel like teaching that day and it was like, okay, here's you know, a packet of papers that you could go through and read and fill out on your own. I'll see you when class is over. It was like that. You would go collect these relics that kind of made no difference to the story, made no difference to anything. And the story itself wasn't really that well drawn out. It was kind of ambiguous. There wasn't enough there to really dive into. You couldn't completely engulf yourself in what was going on. The story came to a point where it meant nothing. There was no sense of, I don't know, there was no sense of self-importance in the game. It was just like, kill this crap because this is what the quest tells you to do. And that's it. The combat was fun, but that also got boring kind of quickly. The PvP was very fun. PvP was very fun. But the issue with that was the game types weren't that fun. They were just not fun. And I know I'm sounding really, really negative. I'm going to get into some positive things about the game too. But a lot of what I need to get the negative out of the way first before I can get into the positive and how I think the game can kind of bounce back. From what I've heard now, there's not really that many people playing. A lot of people are complaining even at endgame they're not getting teams. Mid-range it's just like GG. Because you're not getting anything. I'm sorry, my fingers just all cracked. Like at the same time. They're all cracked now. And that's disheartening. You go into a game and there's nobody there, especially in the starter areas, you're not going to want to stay because that usually doesn't say good things about the game. And MMOs, when we pay $15 a month, we want constant updates. We want the game to be advertising itself more than just us saying, hey buddy, come play this game with me. We're RL friends, here's a game you could come play for 2 minutes and then never play again. That's why we need MMO companies to target the right MMO audience. You know what I'm saying? But that's not really a WildStar issue. Let's talk more about WildStar and why it wasn't that much fun. And one of the reasons why it really wasn't that much fun is because you've played the game before. Sharp, what do you mean we've played the game before? I never played WildStar. You've played it before. You ever played World of Warcraft? You've played WildStar. When the game was marketed, it seemed like it was going to be this funny, like, not too serious Western shooter. You're going to get in there, there's going to be some good laughs, everybody's going to have a good time. It's going to be like a funny MMO because that's how all the advertisements were. I was so stoked. I baited, I pre-ordered, I did all that crap, man. I was in the game so early. And the beta even got kind of boring. The beginning quests that's the pace of the game. The boring go find this and come back stuff, yeah, that's unfortunately how a lot of the quests are. And I was so stoked that this game was going to be this funny game that didn't take itself too seriously. That, you know, was just a funny game. And it wasn't. It just really wasn't. There were funny parts, but the game just stole too much from World of Warcraft. I think I just spit, and I'm so sorry if I did. I had a little bit of a lisp growing up, so sometimes when I say the letter S, some extra saliva comes out. No big deal. Moving on. It seemed very unfinished. It seemed like it was missing that one thing that really would have propelled it into making it sensible to play. If the game was free to play, however, if they made the game free to play, myself and probably tens of thousands of other people would go back and play the game. Because for a game you're not paying for, it is a really, really fun game. You could make it a fun game that way. You could just PvP, but when you have that $15 a month price tag attached to it, or, you know, however you want to pay it, it's kind of a drag. It's not something you want to pay for if you're not fully enjoying it. And that's the problem with a game that's missing that special something that separates it from other games in the market. And I wish the game could have been a little funnier. What it did do is some of the environments were pretty nice. The raiding was actually fun. But now the issue is there's not enough people to raid with. But the Grendalis the Guardian raid I did was really, really fun. It was a nice open world raid. Got a bunch of people together. As you saw, maybe I'll put a link in the description to show you how that raid was done. I died quite a few times, but it was still very much worth it. It was... everybody lolled. And apparently they have fixed a lot of the class imbalances. The game's become much more balanced, and there's a lot more to do now. And hopefully the cities are easier to navigate, because the cities just were no fun to me. For the most part, the smaller cities were the big cities were just silly. And that's pretty much why I think WildStar missed its mark. I think there were things it could have done better, more intuitive questing, made the game a little funnier, did some more things to make the game stand out. The housing was cool too. The housing was a nice touch to it. But if they would have just had a few extra things that would have really propelled it over the edge, that game would have taken me away from AO. It would have. But unfortunately it didn't. And I'm still going to leave a link to where you could play the game in the description, and maybe I'll go check it out and see how it's doing now. But that's why I feel the game has kind of fallen short of its mark. And I really hope the game can make some changes and be prominent in the market, because it's just irrelevant now, and I really wish that game could have been a little bit more. So, it's enough of me talking. You've heard enough, seen enough of my face. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.